welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for match number 3, which again is going to be brought to you by Juice and by Elfish Boy over on my left there. You're right on the screen, I think. But look, going to be a banger. You know, Gravitas have been looking really good yesterday. They certainly surprised us by taking it to Peace, I believe it was, and making it look a little bit scary. Oh, it was Pentanet, wasn't it? That was the one where Pentanet was like, yeah, you know, what's happened? And then it got a little bit scary. No, it wasn't. That was, what am I doing? Oh, my Lord. Jordan, I've dug a hole. I can't find my shovel. Can you please throw me a rope?
I think it was Gravitas against Peace, the one that you were looking for. Hang on, let me get the rope.
Your shoelace from your Peace shoes. Thinking, oh,
mate, you didn't even catch it.
Oh, I caught it. I just looked the wrong way. Look, here it is. Can you pull me in?
Okay. You're pretty heavy, mate.
Yeah, look, I've been working out, mate, just for you. Jubes has no idea why I didn't appear in his bedroom there. But
I've just had an idea to call you guys idiots, and that's what I'll do.
Hey, you know, they actually made a movie about us, Tubes. I don't know if you've seen it.
What is it? Dumb and Dumber? Yeah. See?
Yeah.
How did I know? How did I know? Dumb and Dumber. See,
there's actually a sequel. It's called Dumb and Dumber and Dumber, and you're in it.
No, Skimmy's actually gone out and started recording that.
Oh, is that where he's gone? Beautiful. Anyway, let's get back on track, boys. We do have a game to get to. And look, let's talk about Mammoth. Mammoth have been a development squad where we're watching what they're doing. Unfortunately, they keep on fighting and getting in matches with all of the hardest teams. So I feel like, if anything, this might be one of their best chances to get a win on the board this season.
I mean, it is definitely a game for them to win, but it's not an easy one because you look at Gravitas and some of the performances that they've put up, you have to argue that, you know, they've looked pretty good in some games that they've lost too, but, you know, Mammoth have had their moments, especially in the game against Direwolves, right? It wasn't all doom and gloom. They definitely had some moment attacking the side lane here, able to find some picks, able to find some opportunities, and it did look like they were starting to activate their win condition. But, you know, what we just need to see from them is just a more solid laning phase where they can give themselves an opportunity to play on even footing.
Now, something that you managed to bring up in the previous game was protocols. And you said Legacy's protocols weren't quite there. You know, they took the mid tower, but continued to push mid rather than roam and look for advantages in other lanes. Do you think Mammoth is one of these teams as well where they really need to sort of pick up on their protocols, just learn what to do and when?
I think the word that I use, and I could have butchered it, is fundamentals, right? The fundamentals of like League of Legends. And for Mammoth, where I think they're actually struggling is like the fundamentals of lane and the fundamentals of playing around your jungler and playing your matchups correctly, right? And that does come with a little bit of experience because you can just go straight from solo queue and matchups don't play out in solo queue how they should sometimes, or a lot of the time rather. And then when you step into a competitive sense, you're like, wait, but when I play Talon in solo queue versus Azir, I solo kill him at level 6, and it just doesn't happen on stage. So I think, you know, both teams are at different stage of building their fundamentals, but nevertheless, I think they both need to improve on their fundamentals.
Right, well, you know, we've looked at one team. Let's look at the other. It's time to talk about Gravitas. Of course, they did impress us yesterday up against Peace, really pushing the needle, and it looks like they could manage to get another win on the board today. So, Jordan, any thoughts on the lineup we're going to be seeing here? Looks like there's been a bit of a change-up.
Yeah, nobody coming in for Safa, which is I mean, an interesting replacement. I think Safa's been doing okay, but we'll perhaps get to chat with them and see why that substitution has been made. And look, I was pretty impressed by what I saw from Gravitas yesterday. We've talked about it a little bit. They had a pretty decent game up against Peace. They drafted an interesting composition, which was, you know, more interesting to me than anything else. And there was some moments where they actually made that composition work out, and you thought, you know what, they might actually be able to win this game. They might actually be able to pull it off. But so many times we've sold that storyline here in LCO, and it just hasn't quite managed to work out for the team that's coming back or being able to come as the underdog and maybe try and cause the upset. They just haven't been able to get it over the line. So, look, I like what I've seen so far from Gravitas. I think they've had a little bit more going for them this season than what Mammoth have. They've had some nice pocket picks. They've had some interesting team compositions. They've had some almost upsets as well. So in my mind, they're probably the favorite coming into this matchup. But as Juve said, I mean, this is a difficult one, I think, for both teams. Mammoth can come in. They could potentially win this one. It's definitely a bit of a coin toss.
Yeah, I really liked what they did yesterday with the Noct and the Fiddle, you know, just trying to target that bot lane, which almost worked. Unfortunately, Violet is just untouchable. Hopefully, if they go for something similar today, it'll work out a little bit better for them.
Hopefully. And, you know, yesterday was a good game for them to learn some things, right? If you lose, well, what is it? It's win or learn, right? And, you know, potentially that was a game in which, you know, they were able to learn a lot about closing games out. You know, they had, you know, the ample opportunities and ample time to really, you know, either fall back to Baron, gain a little bit of composure and pick up a neutral objective as opposed to chasing kills. So again, it would be interesting to see, you know, if they were able to fix or tweak some things overnight.
But look, it is time to jump back down to the sidelines to see what's going on with the Mammoths, with the Gravitases, and with the Nats T's. So, hello, how you doing, Nat? How's the weather down there?
Yeah, not too bad, and the internet's still holding up, which is, I guess,
Beautiful.
2 bonuses to tonight. But another 2 bonuses that I have are Buggy from Mammoth, as well as, I hope I say this right. Oh, no, apparently. Oh, no, I do have 2. And hopefully I say this right, is Kiyose? I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but how?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
awesome, good. I've got the
You can call me
pronunciation
Nathan
right.
if you want.
Sure. So, guys, you both are the 2 newest rosters, I guess, to the LCO. A lot of you guys are fresh out of either solo queue or OCS. So, Nathan, you know, how are you settling into the competitive scene? Like, how is that for you?
It's like it's a really different experience, obviously. It's a lot more enjoyable than what I'm used to, which is like solo queue or just any amateur tournaments. But yeah, I'm really liking it, so it feels good. Yeah.
Awesome. Also, I do apologize, Shy for it. I thought we were going to have Buggy on, but instead we're lucky enough to have you. So I do apologize for that one. For you guys over in Mammoth, you know, you're still looking for that win to go on the board. So what have you been learning and what are you hoping to change up to get it tonight?
I think it's a lot about like trying to get the picks we want. A lot of the times we're trying to try new things. Obviously we're a new team, so we want to, you know, find out how the team meshes together. So I think what we need to work on is just getting what we want, getting a comp we're happy with, and hopefully we can win from there.
Awesome. Do you think we'll see, you know, some interesting picks tonight then with the draft? Some more trial and error on some champs?
Maybe nothing too spicy, but we definitely want to mix it up a little bit from what we've been doing in the past 2 games. Obviously it's not working, so we've got to try something new.
Okay, awesome. And then over with you guys in Gravitas, you guys do have a win on the board. You know, it was a very clutch ending to it. But what have you guys learned and taken away from your previous matches and hoping to implement tonight?
Really, we've just been working like well on drafts. Like the coaches are doing a really good job. Like we're not like looking maybe like, so we do look to implement like really special drafts, but also we just want like player macro really like to be perfected. And if we can do that, then we can see like a more brighter future for a team of rookies. So yeah.
Awesome. Do you think then, like speaking about those macros for yourself, that you've been hitting, you know, your expectations and how you've been wanting to play?
Honestly, I think like honestly, I think like I could be doing a lot better, but it's like I feel like I am also doing pretty well for someone who is like just started playing professionally as of last week, honestly. And yeah, but like someone I would really like to talk about is Thomas Shen. Like, I know Thomas Shen wanted to be interviewed today, but like he's been doing a really good job as a rookie, especially with all the pressure on him. So yeah, shout out to Thomas Shen.
Well, look, if you guys win, we might get him in for the winners interview. Who knows?
Hopefully.
You know, it's all up to
we
the
really
fate
want
of
Thomas
you guys.
Yeah.
Shivert, one last question. I've almost forgotten it. But how do you guys think you're gonna go? You know, let's say you do get the champs that you want this game. How do you guys think you match up skill-wise against Gravitas?
Well, I think, not to be rude or anything, but I think Gravitas is one of the weakest teams along with us. Not like, I'm not trying to like be too, you know, too overconfident, but I think this is one of the matches we could win in comparison to the rest of the teams in LCO. So we definitely give it our all here and see what happens.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very close game. I can feel it. But wish you guys the best of luck, and I will see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There you have it. So I'm going to have to add him on Twitter because Jose said you can call him anything you want, and I want to know if that extends to all of us or just to you in particular, because I'm curious. Anyway, moving forward, thanks, Nat. That was a beautiful interview, and I believe we have the predictions coming up. So this is going to be a bit of a tight affair because it's bottom of the table and almost bottom of the table. So let's. What have you guys gone with? Jubes, talk me through it. Talk me through your thought process in the predictions today.
I've gone with Gravitas. I think that Kyose and Azus have just shown a little bit too much quality, right? They've had some very good games, even in games that they've lost. They've kind of been the beacons of light for the roster, and I just do expect them to take over this game, especially when they're paired against, what they've deemed as weaker opposition. I mean, both teams have deemed each other weaker opposition, right? That's what's funny about this game. And so there's actually a lot on the line. You don't want to lose to the team that you think is weaker opposition, and I think it'll give a nice stead of confidence.
What about you, Jordan? Where are you sitting at? 11-3, just behind Jubes, who's now got 2 wrong. Oh, you got to be doing some catching up here, but going for the same picks as him, that's not the way to do it.
Well, I got to say, I'm actually pretty happy that I've been able to get an 11-3 record so far. I feel like that's pretty damn good. But anyways, yeah, I pretty much have to echo exactly what Jubes has said. I mean, I agree. I should have to go for some of these different picks here or there, but it's quite hard when everything that he says makes sense. He's the god analyst of LCO, so it's very difficult to predict against Jubes. But I really do want to echo those thoughts. I think Azus and in particular Kyose was probably the one that has impressed me the most. I think that, yeah, exactly. The Ari game that we saw from him on day 2 was really, really nice. So I'm hoping to see a few more of those pop-off moments. Seems to be leaning a little bit more towards those sort of Enchanter mid lanes, the Karma, Ari, Seraphine. So I wonder if there's a little bit more in the back pocket, or if that's more so what we're going to get for the rest of the season. But aside from that, yeah, I really do think Gravitas is coming into this with just a little bit more than Mammoth. They've shown us a little bit, and some of those potential upsets that we've seen from them that they haven't been able to get over the line give me enough, I suppose, confidence that they should be able to get over the line today against Mammoth.
Well, look, someone that is feeling confident in their prediction is Nat. So you've gone for Mammoth. You've gone for the other side. Why's that?
Oh, look, there's a few reasons. One being, I just really wanted to be different from you guys. No, it is, it was the same with the Dire and the Dire Wolves in the Order game. You got to vote with your heart sometimes. And I'm a big advocate of the underdog story. I think Mammoth really could be coming into their own at this point. The win Gravitas did get, it was a bit of like a clutch one. It came out of nowhere. It was with Sapphire, almost like his shot calling. He's not on the roster today, so whether they're going to have the same divisiveness, I'm not sure. So I think if anything, this is the time that Mammoth can be like, yeah, we've won a lot in the past 3 games, and we're here to show it.
Look, I wish you luck in your prediction, and I wish you luck down on the sidelines. Hopefully we see you after the game and the internet holds up for just the last couple of games tonight.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries. And look, we'll see you after the game. So that brings us one step closer to the beautiful thing we love to see called Champ Select, which is where you two talk about merchandise and disregard exactly what's happening with the champions.
Yeah, high five.
I did quickly check my DMs, and I hadn't been consulted by any of the teams about
Left
merchandise, so I did think that was a little bit weird, but all good. All good. Still time. Night is still young. Week is still young. So,
well, hopefully you can see that Jordan was left hanging by yourself, and you can fix that once you get to Champ
Well, actually,
Select.
Mac, I was asking for the high five from you
But
because you
I thought he was.
Oh no!
All right. 1,
Well,
2, 3, go.
yeah, almost nailed it. Beautiful, and get me out of here because that was cringe. It's Champ Select time.
Well, Mac, it's only cringe if you make it cringe.
And Dumber and Dumber have headed into Champ Select.
Yes, but hopefully Gravitas and Mammoth are going to be able to pull us out of the hole that we've dug ourselves into. What have we got that's worth talking about here? The bans. Look, nothing too out of the ordinary. Yone taken away. Yasuo taken away. I almost feel like, Wei wants to get onto these kinds of champions. He pulled out the Talon. He wants to be that flashy mid laner that's going to do something. So maybe it's a bit of a target ban from Gravitas. Maybe they're just not interested in going up against those two very, very difficult to deal with mid laners, but Thresh, the first pick, and always a safe pick.
Yeah, and just touching on those bans for Wei, right? We saw him on that Yasuo make 2 montage, ready plays. Arguably could have won Player of the Week, if not one Player of the Week for the next 2 days. So just taking those ones out of his hands, and I do think too the Yasuo and the Yone do counter Kyose's champion pool. Is more of the, like, we've seen him play the Ahri, we've seen him play the Karma, and those types of champions that like to sit back, fling spells, and just kind of be uninterrupted and untouched. Whereas Wei wants to be more in your face, skill check you, do you have the mechanics to outplay me? So it makes a lot of sense to be banning that one away. It feels like, Alfish, we're just trading champions all night in the bot lane, right? You take Thresh, I take Alistar. You take Rel, I'll take Thresh, and vice versa. And it's almost just these 3 champions on rotation. And to be completely honest, this is what we see overseas at the moment.
Well, they're very safe picks as well, aren't they? Obviously, we're quite early in the draft still, so we're not expecting to see anything too out of the ordinary that can kind of get countered quite easily by certain champions later on in the draft. So we've got the Alistar, the Gnar early on in the piece for Mammoth. Again, 2 pretty safe selections. You already know the Thresh is there. Gnar's kind of the staple in the top lane at the moment. Again, into the mid lane, you've got the Syndra, which is going to fall by what Kyose has been playing so far, so that works for him, but it's also just another solid, safe kind of selection. It seems like everyone's just going for the tried and true and not really throwing anything against the wall and seeing if it's going to stick.
I was wondering what if they were going to pick mid lane here in pick 3, because I thought, potentially it is a little bit risky to give them Syndra, drop Wei for counter pick when they could just, ban 2 mid laners, and they would have banned away maybe his Orianna, maybe his Zoe, and then he's left with nothing. And so picking up the Zoe here, don't mind it. Obviously, Syndra has a decent enough time into all matchups, being the kind of, early to mid game bully that she is. The one pick I wanted to touch on was the Jinx. This is the second time around that we're seeing Thomas Shen play it. Had a little bit of a rough laning phase into Peace against that Jarvan. Maybe something he was unfamiliar with and really got poked down at level 1. So kind of a new lease on life, a new time, a new game to show us what he's got on this Jinx. And the composition that they've drafted thus far does not fare well for peeling the Jinx, right? Yeah, Thresh has the Lantern, Thresh has the Flay, and Thresh's kit in itself is okay, but it's nothing like the Tahm Kench, or kind of those rangy, magey type champs that are known for keeping the AD carry alive and with that sustained kind of either healing or peel. And then when you pair that against something like the Alistar and the Gnar that do have that flash engage combination, it does make this game kind of, at first glance look extremely hard for Thomas Shen.
Have to see what the remaining 2 picks are going to be for Gravitas. Maybe some big front line to keep the Jinx safe. Nunu and Rek'Sai off the table from Mammoth. Obviously still expecting to see the jungle selection from Gravitas and waiting for one more ban from Gravitas themselves. They have also gotten rid of a few junglers here. So slim pickings actually now when it comes to the jungle. You're talking about, Olaf, Jarvan, Kindred, Nunu, Rek'Sai, Hecarim, Udyr, all gone. So what is actually left in the pool right now for junglers? We've been seeing, I guess, a bit of Lilia, a bit of Viego. They're probably 2 of the power picks. Karthus potentially. We saw, I think, Gravitas choosing earlier on in the competition as well. So some options, but not the big power players, I suppose, outside of Lilia.
Azus is the Karthus player, just FYI, but the thing is it's not a big power player, but if you look at, the stats of Karthus in solo queue, he has quite one of the highest win rates when compared to the rest of the junglers. And, being a very good Karthus player himself, he might feel that this is the window or this is the game in which it's the time to pull it out because it may devolve into a type of solo queue game, right? It might just be a chaotic, reckless, and he feels like it's really the angle in which he can get away with it.
Yeah, or the Lilia, which seems to be the safer pick in most instances. But indeed, we do get the Karthus. I actually don't mind it, We talked about the possibility for Mammoth to just hard engage onto the Jinx. Well, can be a little bit of a difficult time when you're trying to hard engage and there's a Karthus literally standing there and he's just on top of you, dealing all that damage. He puts the Wall of Pain down and you just can't go anywhere. So what's the counter pick from Mammoth? It'll be the Mundo. So Mundo into the jungle. Been seeing that a little bit lately in my solo queue games, Juves. Not to say that that's a great indication of what we're going to get here, but he's a bit of a terror sometimes.
Well, I have to say, like, the Mammoth comp in terms of jungle and jungle mid matchup, it's actually looking pretty good. So it's rare that you want to draft like jungle AP mid, because Merc Treads becomes extremely efficient. Your 2v2 kind of gets really affected by that. And then you can pick something like the Mundo, who traditionally has a very good time into AP damage dealers, just because the way that either like a Spirit Visage or Magic Resist synergizes well with his kit and his ultimate. And I was actually, you know, when he was cycling through those champions, I thought, wait, hang on a minute. Mundo is actually very good into Karthus, because if Karthus doesn't get ahead, if Karthus does just stumble, then you don't have enough like sustained damage to kill Mundo before he's able to either run out of your ultimate, run out of your Defile, or just kind of leave your corpse sitting there and throwing Skittles at nothing. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see how he plays this out. You can match Karthus' tempo with the Mundo as well, because Mundo does clear the jungle quite quickly as well. And I'm actually excited to see how these drafts play out. And you know, I think that was a little bit of a curveball that Mammoth had preemptively planned. I think they knew that Azus was going to opt in for that Karthus if the opportunity presented itself, and they had Mundo waiting in the wings.
Yeah, definitely been doing some thinking about what this draft might end up like. I'm looking forward to getting into the coach interview, which we'll have with Mammoth when we get in, and, you know, really dissecting not only this Mundo selection, but also how they expected Gravitas to draft this game, because it does seem like Gravitas have mostly gotten what they want. But I am just wondering, right, if they don't get Thomas Shen online with this Jinx, where does a lot of that damage come from, right? Karthus, yes, he's going to do a lot to the squishies, but I don't know that he can deal with the Gnar, the Mundo, the Alistar all that easily, particularly if he's struggling to get ahead a little bit earlier on in the piece. So I'm just thinking maybe Gravitas have not quite got the damage to deal with Mammoth if they start to get the ball rolling nicely. Yeah,
there's a lot of responsibility on Thomas Shen in this composition, right? You know, and sometimes, you know, this might be the composition where Thomas Shen shines, because Buggy, Nectar, and Shinky are going to be too busy stacking MR, building the resistances to negate the effects of a Syndra, of a Karthus, that, you know, Thomas Shen's just going to be on that Jinx, shredding through absolutely no armor, and just getting those resets in team fights. And it could also go the other way, right? In the sense that, you know, Thomas Shen maybe gets a little bit ahead. They'd start deciding, you know, they need to build a little bit of armor to bridge that gap, and then Karthus and Syndra just take over the game. So interesting to see what happens.
All right. Well, I have one question as well, Juves, regarding Thomas Shen. I know you're a big fan. Why is he called Thomas Shen? Because he doesn't play Shen.
I don't know.
You don't know? All right.
No.
Well,
maybe his name's Thomas and his last name's Shen.
That could be the case. That'd be an awful coincidence as a League of Legends player. Anyway, we've got more important things to talk about. We're going to bring in Mammoth's coach, Jalal, and have a bit of a chat about that draft. I'm sure you were listening in as we were breaking things down, but the Mundo has us very excited. So was this more of a counter pick, or was this something that Buggies had prepared and wanted to pull out in the past?
Yeah, we planned this. We actually have this pick planned and ready just for this game.
Just specifically for if the Karthus was going to come through, or in general?
Oh yeah. Into our other few picks too. It's one of his best champs.
Okay, well, speaking to the Karthus then, and I suppose the rest of the Gravitas composition, we were mostly unsurprised by the selections, and I assume that was the case for you guys on Mammoth as well. You're quite happy with what you're going up against?
Yep, we knew what we're going up against. We knew they picked Thresh. We knew it probably pair with Jinx. We knew they picked the Karthus. We know Kios is champion pool, and pretty much set.
Awesome, all right. Well, what do you guys have to say, or what's the general feeling within the camp at the moment? Considering coming into this match, I think most had Gravitas as the favorites. Would you agree with that, or do you have a bit of a different sentiment?
I think we can beat them. I don't think they're that hard to beat. They definitely have looked good, but I think we can take them out.
Awesome. Well, hoping to see it, and I think we'll leave it there. So thank you very much for the interview, and best of luck in the game.
No problem. Thank you.
And Juves, not a whole lot going on in those first couple of minutes of gameplay, but anything surprising you from the interview?
Nothing really surprising me. I mean, it's like we knew they knew. You know what I mean? We knew,
Yeah.
they knew that's what they were going to do because, again, not that they're one tricks, but they have players that are quite predictable in what they'll pick if you leave it open. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It just means that they're extremely comfortable and extremely proficient on those champions. One interesting thing was that Mundo did a red side clear into a reset, got his boots, then ran to the bot side. That's something we used to see a while ago, just clearing one side of the jungle, getting that early reset off.
Ooh.
And we might actually see a fight here.
Yeah, it might well pay off, right? Because he's actually got the item advantage now over Azus. Should be able to chase him down if he doesn't get damaged out in time. Oh, what a shot. The cleaver does connect. Isaiah came up to try and assist, but can't prevent the first blood. Now it's on for everyone. Shifrit gets in there, gets a kill. Thomas Shen also starts to get the passive online. But a 2v2 with Shifrit just looking like he's going to get out of here. Turns around for the Dark Harvest. That might be greeting. And that has worked out perfectly for Mammoth. A 3-for-2 trade. And they get the first blood as well. Buggy with a very nice cleaver to get that first kill, and it sort of devolved from there. What a mess.
Yeah, Buggy might be a little bit of a fan of the old basketball with the fadeaway cleaver. So, you know, this Mundo matchup doesn't get easier for Karthus, right? In the terms of once Buggy hits level 6, hard to get lethal. Nice little fadeaway there, good 1v1. Gravitas's bot lane does collapse first, and you start to think, okay, this is dangerous, but that combo there from the Alistar was absolutely insane from Shinky. And then even here I start to get a little bit worried, but Kyose picking up the last ball there, the last sphere, goes out of mana, and they're able to just trade another kill here. Nice little combo.
Yeah.
So Shinky just played that skirmish extremely well, just focusing the right targets, body blocking for the correct members, and Mammoth have a slight lead heading into the early game.
The Alistar is such a devastating champion at level 3 in those early skirmishes, because when you really think about Alistar as a champion, he doesn't do anything different after he's hit level 3. Like, once he's hit level 3, he's hit his power spike in a sense, right? He doesn't get more damage, he just gets tankier. He can do it more often, he can do it easier. But in a sense, you get everything that you're going to get out of an Alistar from level 3, and in those early team fights, he's doing, it feels like, comparatively more work than what he is even in the later team fights, because that lockdown just feels like it lasts for so much longer, and you don't really normally have the damage to chunk through the Alistar anyway that early game. Shinky comes online at the perfect time, and Mammoth reap the rewards. One other thing I've noticed that I wanted to quiz you on a little bit here as Azus gets bullied out of his bot side jungle is, I know you're not a support man yourself, Juice, but Isaiah's gone for the minion dematerializer on the Thresh. So what is the potential reasoning for that? Because obviously on a support you're not normally looking to go for
Nice lantern.
the creeps, and a very good lantern indeed. But is it maybe to make it easier to just get those stacks on the relic shield, or?
No, so, well, the way that relic shield and stacks works now, even on ranged champions, it is a little bit easier to execute. To be honest, you're meant to just take it on like the lanes that are a little bit harder and the lanes that you need the priority on. They're not going to struggle for priority in this lane, so if I'm being completely honest, maybe could have taken something else. Maybe could have taken something else, but hey, you know, he's had a good couple of games the last couple of weeks, so yeah, I'll give him that one. I'll let him, you know, you let him pick the room that he wants in that situation, and you know, like I said, hook lands, hold that thought. Can he flay? Oh,
Shinky.
there was no flay.
He's been ignited. The flay, doesn't quite connect, and so looks like Shinky will get out of there alive. Yeah, be interested to see if we get an interview with Gravitas later on. Maybe Nat can ask the question regarding the minion dematerializer. Or, I mean, it could just be a mistake as well, you know, like that's potential. But don't normally, you don't normally expect people to be making mistakes at this level of gameplay, so have to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the greater minds will let us know.
I was about to say, Isaiah doesn't make mistakes. Mistakes make Isaiah. Oh, I like that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the mistakes make him. They make him the man that he is, right? Like,
I see.
You know, he wouldn't be the player he was if he didn't make mistakes, right? You got to learn from him.
That's true. That's fair. It's a good piece of advice from the veteran player, Juves.
Yep. Veteran of losing. If anyone wants to know how to lose, hit me up.
Well, he knows all about mistakes, so
that's for sure. That is for sure.
Bit of a quieter early game now that things have settled down a little bit. Mundo's back to farming the jungle, clearing the topside Krugs. Same for Azus. He's gone and dealt with the Cromp, and both junglers pathing towards the top side, but both the top laners are feeling quite healthy, so unlikely that a whole lot is going to eventuate in that area of the map.
We are going to keep our eyes on the Karthus now. Dinged level 6, so makes both side lanes, maybe not so much top side, but mid lane and bot lane in general makes them quite volatile. You know, they need to now factor in the Karthus ultimate and how much damage that is going to do in every skirmish. One thing I wanted to point out too was the itemization of Zoe. It's very defensive, but also don't mind it. Not going to be taking much damage from those AP threats. You know, just straight rushing the Verdant barrier. Also, you know, with new items, because they haven't been around for long enough, you kind of create your own pronunciation, right? Like,
I was going to say, I'm not sure that's how you pronounce that word.
But who can tell me, like, who, you know, like, who are you to tell me that's not how you say it? Unless the guy...
All I'm saying is, Jubes, that's not a word that's been made up by League of Legends, you know? That's not a random word.
You don't reckon?
Verdant is actually a word.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
What does that word mean, if you want to hit me up with it?
I don't actually know, if I'm going to be honest
So
with
it's
you.
not so bad that I didn't know the word? Or?
I know it's a word.
Okay.
It's something to do with grass and stuff. We see some engagement going on in the top lane, but look, let's be real. It's a wet noodle fight at this point, so...
Just full dodging that topic because we well, I butchered it and then you didn't know what it meant.
All right, it's green with grass or other rich vegetation.
Oh, really?
Such as verdant valleys, verdant green. So I suppose that makes sense. It's a green item.
But isn't Verdant, like, couldn't you say, like, dance and dance? Verdant? 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 You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
just
let's
here to
talk about League of Legends,
Legends.
because that's what I know about. I don't know about all the other stuff, so...
Words are hard, yep.
So, not much happening in this bot side. I will say Thomas Shen has picked up a little bit of a CS lead. Keep your eyes on that. Obviously, you know, Jinx with a CS lead and with her lead in lane can turn into quite the problem, especially in this composition.
Zaya just being a little bit disrespectful. It's going to work out because they have Azus down in the bot side. Shinky has the unbreakable will, but taking still quite a hefty chunk of damage, forcing the heal. Zarya flashes forward for the flay, but the super mega death rocket doesn't connect.
Oh!
Requiem, not quite enough this time, and now Shifrit will have his turn. The bot laners, they're so low. Look down, Thomas Shen dodges, Azaya dodges, and everyone gets out of there alive. Thomas Shen, he's playing with fire.
That was a, you know, back in my day, we used to call that a clown fiesta. That's what that was. It was just, you know, we can either call it skill shots missing or some jukes. Which one do you prefer?
Honestly, I always think that every skill shot can be juked, you know? Unless you're already CC'd, okay, then it's fair to call it a miss. But either you are going to try and predict the shot and predict where they're going to move, or you're going to try and hit them where they are. And it's not your fault if they decide to do the opposite.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it was skill shots dodged, not skill shots missed.
But I would also maybe say that there's a ratio in which that skill shot should hit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, at this angle, it's really hard for him to juke, and so it's your responsibility to hit. And in that situation, I think the Jinx ultimate should hit, right? Like, there's a less of a chance that he jukes that as opposed to you missing, right?
Yeah, probably in that instance. I was more leaning on the curtain call from the gym.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that
discussion.
was coin flip. Just flip a coin.
Yeah.
Whatever happened. Azus 1v4 here. No? Oh, Zonya's!
I'm not sure what that Zonya's is for. Might have been just a misclick.
Yeah, definitely a misclick. I got excited there.
Something going on down in the bot lane as well. But ends up not really favouring anyone.
Mundo's picked up.
So, we'll move over to the mid lane.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dubes. Sometimes things are just happening. You had to deal with it yesterday. You're going to have to deal with it today as well. Azus.
Uh-oh.
Not quite going to have the damage their way with the magic resist already in the kit. Not taking too much from those Karthus Qs.
And it's what I was talking about too before the game, right? In terms of drafting the Syndra and the Karthus. You know, the itemization from Wei is just too efficient to build MR. And like, you saw how much damage he wasn't taking there. He took like 3 or 4 Skittles to the head and it didn't matter. And you know, Kyose is out of mana, so has no business being in this lane anymore. You know, needs some assistance to kill this Herald, as well as probably get this lane out so he can play League of Legends again. And That did absolutely no damage. So
Gotta
that's
love the
nice.
silent. I assume he's popped the shield there to not
Yeah, he
take
did.
any damage. And
Might be
now the
dead.
sleep is going to connect. This could be problematic. Buggy, no, what? He's altered out of there. He's okay. He's run off. So everyone survives again.
Oh, who gets it? And Sion got it. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Loving that if you're nobody.
Nice little gold pickup. To be fair, it was an invade, so it was Gravitas's to take anyway.
Yeah, and so Sion, you know, is probably one of the melee range top laners that fares very well into range matchups. Just because the nature of the kit, you have so much length on your abilities in terms of, you know, you can shove the minion wave to farm, you can channel the Q, and you know, now matchups generally, in terms of farm, stay relatively even until Na picks up quite a couple of items and then has that % HP damage that'll eventually, you know, see Na win the side lane. But at that point, Sion's already zooming down mid lane to group with the team and start that 5v5 team fight.
Yeah, it's actually been quite a good game so far here between Gravitas and Mammoth. We're not seeing any lanes pull too far ahead. You might have thought this would spiral out of control for Gravitas after losing that early engagement. Azus just sidestepping the sleep, okay.
How's Buggy's nerve here? How's Buggy's nerve?
I don't think it matters. No, it's just not quite enough. Requiem surely will be. Azus gets himself his second kill for the game. Theos asleep. Death sentence doesn't connect, but even had it, I don't think there was much in it.
Yeah, look
And
at
overall, a little advantage. Never mind. Down in the bot lane, Thomas Shen, 1v1. Shifted, low, but has to reload. So unfortunate. Sometimes that's just how Jin is. And Thomas Shen wins it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to digest. Where do you want me to start? I think it's a little unacceptable to die as an 80 carry 1v1 in a competitive sense. So Mammoth have kind of undone all of their hard work, but nice solo kill there by Thomas Shen. Still had the heal if he wanted it as well. You know, maybe if you're being hypercritical, Stryfrit could have, you know, disengaged a lot earlier and tried his luck at a Jin ultimate, Curtain Call. Landing all 4 of those shots probably would have sent Thomas Shen to the graveyard. So nevertheless, Jinx 2-0, or 2-1 rather, with a 200 gold bounty and now a full item completed. So Gravitas, although down gold, probably happy with current game state. You know,
That
Jinx,
little engagement in the top lane, resulting in the usage of Na. So no ultimate up there for Nectar at the moment.
yeah, but you'll find Nas just burn their ultimates in lane because it's such a short cooldown, and the champion itself, when in lane, isn't reliant on having the ultimate, right? You know, you look at the likes of a Syndra as an example, obviously it needs the ultimate to be relevant or to be a threat. Na still does Na things without it, right? Still has CC, still has the rocks to throw.
Speaking of Na, there's a little bit going on in the
Yeah,
top lane
there
that
is.
I can see right now. I think the Na ultimate has been used again by Nectar.
Yeah,
No
it
kill
has.
to result.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
flash.
man, it's happening again. It's happening again. Juves leaves some room open for the color commentator, and the team say, no, Thomas Shen. How is he still alive? He does not deserve to be. Wei is not happy that he hasn't been able to pick up that kill, but it goes to Nectar, which is not a bad shout anyway. And now nobody, unstoppable onslaught, is going to land right on top of Buggy, who is pretty tanky in his own right. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Mammoth get out of there feeling pretty happy. A 2-for-1 overall.
2-for-1 overall. You know, Thomas Shen dying at the start of the fight, and that's what I was talking about before the game. I might even just hold here, because it looks like Thresh is caught.
Could be something in that. We get the stun through there from the Jin as well, but Azaya flashes away and will be safe. Chinky providing that flanking pressure so that Gravitas cannot try to force on the remaining 3 players in the river.
Yeah, and what I was going to discuss before this, but probably going to see a contest here that don't want to give away 3 dragons for free, Elfish. So you know, we have to take stock of what ultimates are available and what aren't. You know, ooh, Thresh caught, no flash this time.
And Mike, this literally just happened.
Yeah, it did.
It's deja vu. That's almost a replay, although it's not. This time, Curtain Call is going to be the end of Azaya, and Kiyose under a bit of pressure as well. Wei will connect the Q, but the sleep doesn't quite go through. And so Mammoth, they might actually get that 3rd dragon you were talking about.
Yeah, they get it. So the MVP of that fight was actually Shinky. He just, you know, he bided his time and he was really patient on the flank, waiting at that red buff, and was able to just find that flank onto key members of that composition. And you know, Gravitas just aren't really setting up properly around these objectives as we go back to live. as we get the replay. So teleport's coming on in. Thomas Shen goes down really early on in this fight, and this was still quite extended for some time.
This was the first
Yeah, this
fight.
was the first instance of the fight. You know, Wet Noodles in the front line there, both going down 1-for-1, but ultimately it resulted in the 2-for-1 because Jinx did die earlier, and Gravitas' composition just doesn't have as much juice in the tank when Thomas Shen goes down, just because you look at the itemization coming on out, so much magic resistance and no attack damage carry to shred through what resistances aren't there.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what we talked about in the Champion Select as well. If Thomas Shen isn't able to get online or gets picked off in any of these fights, Gravitas is going to find it difficult with the Karthus and the Syndra to chunk through such tanky targets like Nah, Mundo, Alistair even. And Mammoth are walking around as a roaming death squad, it feels like, and just trying to catch off the Gravitas players, which they are doing reasonably well. Asus down to half HP, nobody barely similar. Unstoppable onslaught, but again, it's going to get onto the Alistair, which isn't the ideal target, but you'll take it in this instance, because now it opens up the back lines. Great hook from Isaiah. Death sentence perhaps for Wei. It is. Syndra ult will finish things off.
Watch out for Nara on the flank.
Gravitas might finally have won a fight, or have I spoken too soon? The Nara ulti is too good, and Requiem just does nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, Thomas Shen was going to be able to clean up that fight. Nectar might find the kill here, misses the boomerang. Does Kyose go back in, tries luck, you know, opt in for a little bit of a skill check?
I don't think you want to. You don't really have any huge outplay potential with the Syndra if you don't have the flash available there. Nectar, of course, can use his E, dodge the stun, and then maybe that's the end of Kyose. So it goes for the percentage play, I would say, in that instance.
I did think this was a little bit of a Thomas Shen cleanup angle, right? Gets the Jinx reset really early on into this fight. You start to think, okay, going to do a lot of damage. Hook lands, though, as well, and they're just all funneling into a choke versus a composition that just does so much damage when kiting back, right? They're running into Jinx.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're running into a Jhin, running into Mundo Cleavers. You got to remember, Nectar's on the back line as well. So just a really good kite back from Mammoth, although they started that fight at a disadvantage.
That's where you have a bit of a rush of the blood to your head as Gravitas. You see these low HP players, you think, we're winning this fight, we're going to clean this up, it's going to be the fight that we need to turn the game on its head, but you forget about the teleport coming in behind you, and Nectar with a very nice cleanup. Happens to the best of us. And unfortunately, it doesn't do a whole lot to get Gravitas back into a winning position. They're down 4.5k gold or so, and 3 dragons.
Yeah.
They're going to have to come online soon.
And just look at the Mundo now. Has the Spirit Visage picked up, and he's going to run rampant with that healing. He's going to need an Ignite dropped on him every single time. Look at the Karthus and the Syndra's itemization, actually identical. Yeah, obviously no tier, but identical build. And you know, probably one of the unsung heroes in a couple of these team fights is Shyfrit, right? You know, besides that early death, he's had a pretty good game, being able to kite back, really be untouched in the backline, and just, you know, rain down a little bit of damage whilst they're kiting back and away as well. So Mammoth, I think, are just executing much better. You know, Gravitas aren't able to find that long extended fight that they want. You know, they're not able to find the fights on the Karthus' body. Karthus is the one that's having to run them down. And if you're kiting the Karthus off and away, it's probably a hard team fight to win, because, you know, you're okay if your Karthus dies, right? If you're fighting on that Defile.
Yeah.
And in the situations that, you know, Mammoth are winning these fights, Asus is trying to get in there, trying to put his body on the line, but he's unable to.
Well played so far by Mammoth. Maybe we've underestimated them.
Yeah. We will
Could be
set
our second
Gravitas
wrong
with
prediction.
favorites.
Ooh, Wei. He'll be fine. Has got the Banshee's Veil, so even if the death sentence connected through the ultimate, he would have been back through that portal, no problems at all.
And Soul Point versus Banshees is online, so Syndra down to 1/3.
Yeah, this is one of the most annoying things to deal with in League of Legends, in my opinion, is a Zoe. Takes me back to when Nidalee used to be such a problem. You can see it's kind of getting under Gravitas' skin. They're trying to chase Wei down, but that's bad news. Headbutt Polv over the wall. Shinky could have flashed as well, but decided better of it, and it's more than enough. Where's that damage come from? Shifrit in the back lines with Jin. Curtain call indeed, and that I think is going to be Gravitas. Done and dusted. Just nobody. And it's not even really nobody, it's the corpse of nobody trying to get anything done. Only the 1 kill onto Nectar. That was the perfect fight for Mammoth. But it goes back to what I was talking about. Wei just being so annoying on the flank, and they think, we've got to get rid of this Zoe, but you get baited.
Unironically, I thought you were talking about nobody, like as in no one existed. Yes, and then I realized a little bit later who you were actually talking about. But no, yeah, you're completely right. And the problem that Gravitas are having in this game is tempo. Like, the key word is tempo. If you lose tempo and unable to get control of Summoner's Rift, Zoe has a field day, right? Look at all this control Mammoth have. Zoe's just free flinging abilities at you, and you don't have the composition to tank those, you know, those skill shots. As you see, Azaya tries to make the play, unable to do so, and watch Nectar here, just an absolute beast on this Gnar, landing a multi-man wall slam, if that's what we're going to call it nowadays, into a just clean team fight. And I
don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all either. And Gravitas really are just struggling. Like, they're kind of their own worst enemy. They aren't keeping tempo. They aren't able to get any tempo on the map. And when they're grouped and ready to walk in, they're just getting chunked out by Wei. And then they have no way to contest the objective. So again, Mammoth just first on the map and using their vision control, vision denial extremely well.
I'm a fan of the multi-man wall slam.
Yep.
Kind of rolls off the tongue nicely. Try and weave it into the play-by-play next time we see Nectar hitting a good Gnar ult.
I'll message
I've
you.
always struggled, by the way, with what to call Gnar ult, because Gnar ult is literally Gnar. But I think if you say he used Gnar in the fight, people are going to be like,
Nah,
what do you mean he used
that.
Gnar?
Yeah, you can't do that. But
So
you also
you
can't
have to say
nah.
Gnar ult.
Like, you know how I just disagreed with you and said nah?
Yeah.
You know, and now it's like, well,
Nah.
was it, you know what I mean? Was I talking
Are
about
you even
nah?
talking about Gnar, or are
Yeah.
you saying no?
I was
Oh,
saying
man.
no. I was saying no.
No, you weren't.
I was saying no. But I'll let you know my day rate for taking my lines if you want to use that slam jam into the wall.
Sure.
Reminded
Probably
me,
not too much, I'd imagine.
It did. You'd be surprised. But it did remind me of Space Jam. You know that song that goes, "Come on and slam." And
Yep.
welcome
to the jam.
I thought
Yep.
that's maybe that's the chorus that starts playing when Gnar lands the wombo combo.
That'd be kind of cool.
It
You
would
know,
be,
if you
eh?
could get music packs in League of Legends.
Surely League of Legends or Riot Games gets the license for that in-game, and that's the skin.
They can send the commission to Mr. Jews as well.
I'll send them
Or-
my invoice.
Hit me up on Twitter at @ElfishGuy. I'm his agent, and we'll sort that out for you if you know that comes to be. Things have slowed down a bit though, Juves. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot happening in the last 5 minutes.
No,
or-
but you know what needs to happen when you have a 7k gold lead, right? And you have Salt Point. At this point, honestly, Mammoth could take a back seat, wait for that Elder Drake to spawn, because you know at this point in the game, if you thought the Zoe was hard to walk through, you know, 5 minutes ago, it's almost impossible to walk through now, especially with that Infernal Soul and the pop on that burst. So again, keep your eye on Wei here as they try and walk in.
Magi's going to be ramping up for Wei as well. Already at 10 stacks, so still a fair bit to get out of that one. Azaya might be caught. Death sentence, it will connect, but it's only on to Nectar, and that is really not going to result in a whole lot. One of the worst feelings when you're playing Thresh is just feeling like even if I do hit a death sentence, it's not going to matter. Nothing's going to happen. And that's, I think, where Gravitas is out right now. I mean, Azaya, what target can he really hit? Maybe if he hits Shifrit on the Jhin.
Yeah, he definitely needs to hit one of the squishies, one of the carries. But Jhin, oh my goodness.
So much damage coming through from that Jhin, and just what can you do? We don't even need the multi-man wall slam this time, Juves. It's more than enough damage regardless. Requiem is a token gesture. It will
Double
actually
kill,
get
though.
a double kill for Azus, but is a double kill enough to sweeten the pot for Gravitas after that fight?
No, it's definitely not, but we do call that the Michael Dublé, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Michael Dublé, aka
Yep.
double kill. But
I got it,
Mammoth
yep.
are pushing down to end this game, Elfish, so potentially it's an end. Kyose is up in 7 seconds.
I don't know that he's going to be there quickly enough. Buggy is actually taking the
Buggy.
tower. He's going to die to the tower. Is there going to be enough damage? Nectar and Way to try and defeat Kyosei and Azaya. Ultimate through from Syndra connection. We need a death sentence to hit here. Way dodges it. He's dodged it with the portal, but I don't think he's got enough damage, does he? Yes, he does. Mammoth of 1. Oh, Way played it perfectly. He just absolutely bamboozled Azaya. Dodges the death sentence, and it needed to connect. And Mammoth have got their first win in the LCO.
Before we bring Mac, mate, and friend back into the broadcast, I'm highly suggesting we actually bring Natty in instead, because she's the only one who predicted that. Unbelievable performance from Mammoth. You know, really put on a clinical showing, and every member of that team really stepped up today. And I think it was important. You know, it wasn't going to be an easy win. Gravitas had some really strong performances, and the fact that Mammoth were able to pull out that win and really look good from the start. It wasn't like, you know, hiccup here, hiccup there. It was pretty much control of the game all the way out. Way had control of that mid lane matchup for majority of the game, and just a super performance.
All right, well, let's bring Mac back into the conversation. What do you think about the multi-man wall slam? Is that one that we should carry on with, Mac?
Yeah, I just want to see some more slamming, some more jamming, and I just want to see more Way versus the world. That was sick at the end. You don't get to see that too often, just duking his way to a victory and saying, look, even if he did go down, they were probably going to win eventually, but that would have been a tiny window for Gravitas to get back in the game. So very fortunate Way managed to close things out where they did. And of course, look, Mammoth, they are on the board. Gravitas couldn't take them down.
Yeah, and I mean, this was kind of where it all started for Mammoth, and I think where they started to get a little bit of confidence, right? You know, had a few rough weeks, but able to win this skirmish in the river very early, some very good pathing from Buggy, able to get that, you know, fade away skill shot to start this one off, and, you know, from here, you think maybe Thomas Shen's going to get the reset. Shinky, just a little bit too good on this Alistar today.
Oh, speaking of team comps as well, do you think Mammoth won this in the draft, or was it won in the server?
I think, well, of course, you know, you can win draft, but you still have to play the game, right? There's been some bad drafts in the past that have won. But in terms of draft, I would say, yeah, Mammoth did win this one. You know, maybe a little bit too much of a AP focus from the jungle mid on Gravitas, especially when they're playing two of your most, your biggest damage dealers. And then Thomas Shen just doesn't really have an avenue to stay alive when they fall behind, you know. He just kind of gets run over, and you could see the Jinx at times look like it was about to start to pop off, but, you know, in this instance, last one alive here, still not enough damage to win, especially when they can just use all the CC on him, and maybe a little bit of a draft gap, but of course had to come down to execution.
Yeah, there's a few times as well. I noticed that we did see Gravitas sort of get caught out of position, like one or two individuals. I think Azaya sometimes was out of position. I think Thomas Shen one point got caught over towards the lower river, also isolated, which wasn't optimal, I guess, for Gravitas, and it just led into these team fights, which that was actually hilarious, by the way. Every time Jordan tried to allow you to have a word, they just had this bloody 10-minute long team fight, which just kept on reoccurring every time everyone was respawning because it wasn't too late in the game. So look, a bit of a good result, and I reckon Nat's going to be extremely happy with that one. Finally, she's gone for Mammoth. I don't know if anyone else went for Mammoth. I hope someone else did. But if not, you know, congratulations, Nat, for seeing what we didn't. So let's just bring Nat in. She's down at the sidelines again, and I think she's got two great individuals to chat to as well. But before we jump over to that, Nat, how does that feel to get the prediction right?
It feels really good, I'm not going to lie. You know, I was doubting myself a little bit with the direwolves and the order, you know, the matchup, but I'm so glad I stuck with Mammoth, and I'm actually just so happy for them knowing how brand new the team is. Like, the confidence for them must be through the roof. But Rusty also did predict Mammoth as well, so
there you go.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
The one question I actually have, a very important one, is do we get the Thomas Shen interview?
Well, no, because he's on the
He's
losing
on
team.
Gravitas.
He's on the loser.
So we're not going to get him.
We're going to have to wait
Yeah.
until next week,
But
aren't we?
that's-
Or
that's it.
Friday.
Who do we have?
I'm so happy to say that we have Wei joining me for this post-game interview.
Hey.
Wei, congratulations. Man, I'm so happy for you, you know. We've done a few pre-game interviews. Now we finally get to do a post-game one. How's that win feeling for you?
Yeah, obviously the first one on the board feels absolutely fantastic. I mean, I finally got to play one of my champs. I'm so sick of seeing 3 mid bans and then like not being able to play any of my champs. So finally get to play my favorite champ Zoe as well, which is good.
Oh, that's good. And you had a pretty insane ending on her as well. I do have to ask, with the draft, the Mundo pick, I want to know a little bit more insight towards it. Like, were you coming in wanting to play it?
So basically, Mundo is like exceptional into AP comps, right? Obviously, it's also like a pretty good counter into Karthus. And if we're just able to enable Mundo, I'm pretty sure he just like 1v9s the entire game. Also, it's like a really big comfort for Buggy. And I also think it was really troll for them to draft double AP mid, because I can just go Verdant Barrier and just never die. So
that draft just kind of really played into the hands for you guys.
Yeah.
What else do you think like helped you guys win that? Like, talk me a little bit more through the game and where you think the turning point where you're like, okay, there is no way, like, we can definitely close this out.
I mean, we're able to take control of almost every objective, right? And when you're playing comps with like Zoe Jin and you're able to establish like vision control and get on the objective first, it makes the game like almost impossible to lose, because they can't ever walk in because they have to take like a Q to the face, right? And if any of them take a Q, they just have to go back to base. So we can always just turn the objective.
Yeah, I guess with those objectives and the team fights, who was the key communicator for you guys? Like, where were these shots coming from?
I mean, it was like majority of like me, like just wanting to like where I wanted the vision and where like we wanted to play, right? But I mean, it's like everyone was like having their own say, or like maybe getting a little bit too excited, like mid game with that like bit of a fiesta mid. Everyone was kind of just like running it down. We like kept skipping waves and stuff, but other than that, we had to like just calm down a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine you guys were just looking so good that game, and then the closeout from yourself was just, the jukes were insane.
That was funny.
But congratulations again, and enjoy your prep time before your game on Friday. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you have it. So the Duke Master himself letting us know that they knew they pretty much wanted in the draft, and he knew exactly what to do to control mid as long as he could. So, you know, himself and Nat both looked extremely happy there with W's of their own.
I've got to say, I felt the hype for them in that interview. I was like, how do I control my energy for them?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can control your energy and not only keep your power alive, keep the internet alive, and take us through the whole day. Don't want to jinx it, but that is 3 from 3 games, 6 from 6 interviews. Congratulations,
Only
Nat.
one
We'll
more.
see you in the next pre-game interview.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
No worries. Now, boys, that is going to bring us to the end of match 3 for the day. We've only got one left, and it's going to be Chiefs versus Pentanet. So before we get too deep into the discussion, any quick takes before we go to a break?
It's going to be the best game of the day.
Oh,
That's a big comment. That's a big statement. No, but I think it'll be a good game. And I think it's a very good test for Chiefs, but also a good test for Pentanet, considering how yesterday panned out for them. I'm excited for it.
well, what I want to see is more Shyvana coming out from Pabu. Hopefully we get to see that after the break. Don't go too far, ladies and gents. Final match of the evening coming up very shortly.
Over the wall. Shinky could have flashed as well, but decided better of it, and it's more than enough. Where's that damage come from? Shifrit in the back lines with Jin. Curtain call indeed, and that I think is going to be Gravitas. Done and dusted. Just nobody. And it's not even really nobody, it's the corpse of nobody trying to get anything done. Only the 1 kill on Nectar. That was the perfect fight for Mammoth, but it goes him through from Syndra connection. We need a death sentence to hit here. Wait, he dodges it. He's dodged it with the portal, but I don't think he's